Okay, I'm going to show you how to hang an upper kitchen cabinet. This is a used cabinet. The first thing you want to do is lighten it up by getting the door off of it. And if there's any shelving in there, you want to just take this stuff off for two reasons. One is to lighten up the cabinet, and another one is so you have full access to it. Now, I need to adjust this cabinet a little bit because it's going in an existing kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out a little notch that I have to cut like this so it fits in this particular kitchen. Mark that with an X. And then I'm going to just use the old, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Just to remove the handsaw. One of my favorite saws to use is a handsaw. Now, I'd like to show you what I've got here. I've got an old cabinet, and if you see here, there's a cleat here and a cleat here to go onto that real thin plywood that's little less than 3/8 of an inch or 1/8 and a little bit. So all cabinets are pretty much made to be light as possible. Okay, now look, I've got my bottoms are even up here. So since this cabinet was already hung, it's got existing hole here. So I'm gonna use the same screws that were on it here before. I kept all the parts. I'm going to find me a screw that's not too long. Actually, I have to get them from another screwdriver. Okay, now I'm going to find the stud in the wall. Since I have a heat vent up there, I know there'll be a stud here. This will be hollow where the heat vent's at. And I know there'll be a stud here someplace. Behind where the cabinet's at, I want to drill. You see, I missed it there. So I go over, and right there. And I also want to make sure I'm in the center of it, so I put another hole. Good. Now, you can tell that it didn't go in. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to measure around 4 inches to the two that hit. And then I want to transfer that mark inside my cabinet. So to do that, first I have to subtract 1 3/4 inches. And there's several ways to do that, but a cheap way to do it is like this, 4 inches. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm subtracting 1 3/4. Making a mark at 4 inches here, and then I can also measure and see that's 2 1/4, and make one down here too. Now I'm going to pre-drill these couple of holes here, just so I don't have to fool with it later, like this. One at the top. And also I'm going to put one at the bottom, right there. showed you this one hole here on the hinge side, right there. I'm going to put a second one in because I want this cabinet now with that hole there, I'm gonna ream the top of it so the screw countersinks a little bit. I'll show you what that is. I'm a carpenter and I don't want to have a big screw head coming out, so I'm gonna flare this hole out just a little bit there, so when I put my screw in, it's gonna countersink. Now, you notice here, I brought this piece of plastic framing here. It's a way to stage my cabinet up so I don't have to hold it when I'm working with it too far. A lot of times, you bring one of these two ladders here, and depending on the height, you can kick this ladder right here and put it there, just to keep the cabinet in place. Now before I do this, I want to make sure I've got all my screws. So I'm going to pilot these screws into those new holes that I drilled to get it ready, so I don't have to play with it when I've got it up in the air. Like that. And here's my new hole up here. I want to do the same with the two side screws. Now, with the side screws, look, I want to show, it doesn't take much of a bite, something like that. That's really not enough, so I'm going to go with a little bit longer screw. I'm just going to have these two screws ready in place. So, now I'm ready to hang the cabinet by myself without anybody helping me. I'm just going to scoot it up in position. Like this. And what I'm getting here is I sunk this one in too tight, so it's scratching the back. I'll make sure both of those are backed off a little bit. Nice part about being a carpenter is you can make a lot of mistakes as long as nobody's watching you. You still are going to do one thing. You're going to get the job done. Now look, I'm ready, and all I have to do is shoot this one in. Okay, now it's pretty much easy because it's hanging by itself. Okay, that cabinet is in. Now I'm gonna put the shelf back in it. So here's my shelf cleats. I tried to find a number I like. These are numbered, but you see there's a hole here. I'm just gonna put them one click under the hole on each of these to get my shelf back in. On the same on this side here, if you remember I said there's a hole there. I'm just going to go one click under the hole like this. And now I'm going to grab the shelf and put that back in there like that. Now I have these two hinges here. I could do that with a power screwdriver. I'm just going to loosen them up. I don't know if you see, one trick is whenever you take a screw out, try to keep it someplace where you're going to find it. Okay, put your screwdriver handy. And different hinges are done different ways. I like to do the bottom one first and then just try to push it in here. Line the top one up. And like I say, I could do this with power, but just as fast to do it, like tighten it up a little bit. There you go, done. This took a little less than 10 minutes to put in. And pretty much anybody can do this.